Good evening. Come on, you're scouts. That's not how you respond. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, come on, let's try this again. We're scouts. It's a Friday night. Good evening. Good evening. As I referenced before, the scout sign is a lot easier than the gavel here, but we'll officially call ourselves to order. And first I want to introduce Jeremy Nelson from the Connecticut Rivers Council.
Thanks, Pat. Good evening, everyone. As Representative Boyd said, I just really want to welcome everyone here today. It's an exciting event to give the scouting report to the state and to have all of you here representing scouts from across the state and in our area and all the different scouting programs that are represented. Tonight, we have a good program of people that are going to talk, give some information about scouting and what scouting meant to them in their life. I do want to take just a moment because I don't know if it'll happen later, but I do want to thank Representative Boyd. A lot of hard work and dedication, not only in the public service sector as a representative here in the state, but Pat is also a dedicated scouter and a dedicated believer in our program and all that it does. So really quickly, if you wouldn't mind just thanking Representative Boyd for putting this together for us. But this is the scouting report to the state, and this is our opportunity to shine and tell the state of Connecticut everything that scouting is and all that you have done and great things this year and all that scouting can be in the future. So it's a very exciting night for all of us, and I thank all of you for attending. And to start us off tonight, we would like to just welcome up to the podium here with me Angelina, Jack, and Jackson, who are going to give the Pledge of Allegiance, the Scout Oath, and the Scout Law. So if you three can come on up.
Step right up to the mic. Do it right in the mic. Whoever's going first.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
All right, thank you. I don't know, it seems to me that if everybody followed those 12 points of the Scout Law, we wouldn't need to make any laws in this room at all. But, on behalf of the General Assembly, welcome, as the governor said in one of his first State of the State addresses, this is the room where it happens, right? This is where, in this room, in these seats, for decades, your representatives get together and talk about things that are important to you, that are important to our state. And I've often thought a couple things. One is this room is set up in a similar way to like a council ring at a summer camp, first of all, with a tiered piece. So if we are a little too low, maybe we'll sing a song. But also, we need more scouts, right? Because all of the skills that you learned working with people, leadership, and all those things serve you well in life. And so we're gathering today because tomorrow is the 115th anniversary of the founding of then the Boy Scouts of America, which tomorrow the organization officially changes its name to Scouting America, which is a really big deal because it reflects the evolution of the organization. 5 years ago, as I said in the LOB, we sat in the same chamber and let in for the first time and welcomed young ladies into the scouting program as a scout rank. So 5 years later, Many of you I know here are now Eagle Scouts and are serving in your community, and that has made our community better, that has made this organization better, and that has made our society better. So I appreciate all of you willing to come by and celebrate those really four big things. I also want to thank my legislative colleagues who we'll hear from later. A number of state representatives are here. Governor Lamont, thank you for taking the time to come here. Secretary Thomas, thank you. General Evon, thank you as well. And we're going to hear from them later. But you don't want to hear from me. We want to hear from a couple of our best scouts here in Connecticut. So I'd like to call forward Connor Mashad and Catherine Salisbury, an Eagle Scout and a Life Scout, to tell us about all the good work that Scouts are doing. So let's give a round of applause as they make the welcome.
Good evening, everybody. As Representative Boyd said, my name is Connor Michaud. I am 17 and I'm an Eagle Scout. I've been in several organizations throughout my 17 years of life, and I can confidently say that Scouting has had the biggest impact on me as a person. Without Scouting, I probably wouldn't have the confidence to come up here and be able to make a speech like this. Scouting has done a lot for me. I'm sure it has for everybody else in this room. I've worked at scouting camp, and at that scouting camp, I've had several opportunities to make new friends, to form like true family, and to improve myself as a person. I'm very grateful for this organization, and I encourage everybody in this room to take advantage of the opportunities that you kind of get within this organization. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Catherine Salisbury, and I'm from Troop 6 in Middleburg, Connecticut. I'm a Life Scout, and I'm also 14 years old. I'm honored to stand before you today to represent our state. Scouting has been an integral part of my life for the past 4 years. I've learned valuable skills such as leadership, teamwork, and resilience through Scouting. However, from summer camps, weekly meetings, and even leadership seminars, I faced multiple hardships. One of the experiences that had the most impact on my life was on a week-long trip to the U.S. Virgin Islands on a program called Sea Base. During this adventure, we were encouraged to sleep on the ship's deck. One night, my pillow slipped into the Atlantic Ocean, never to be seen again. And the next morning and following days, I didn't even realize it was gone. Only when recognizing the newfound space in my duffel bag was I able to discover this loss. How was I unable to notice my pillow was gone? You can chalk it up to busy days and long hikes, providing a quick transition to shut-eye, but I have an opposing theory. I believe that the sheer companionship and unity formed to my crew numbed any feelings of negativity about the adventure. Despite the initial shock of realizing my pillow was gone, I didn't feel the weight of the loss at all. Focusing on the positive is a skill that is needed, not only in Scouting, but in your daily life. Not what is lost, but what you can cherish. Scouting has shaped me into the person I am today. It has given me the confidence to face challenges, the determination to achieve my goals, and the compassion to help others. The sense of camaraderie and support in the Scouting community is something I hold close to my heart. I have met many people from all across the country through Scouting. I have met several of them being my closest friends. As I look to the future, I'm excited to continue embodying the values of Scouting and contributing positively to my community. Thank you for this incredible opportunity.
Thank you, Connor and Catherine. You certainly represent the best that we have up here. So they're going to hang out here, and after our speakers come up, present them with their actual the report. And I have good news, Governor. You're going to get your first earned Scout badge today as well. So it's a momentous occasion. But first, I'd like to call up our Secretary of the State, Stephanie Thomas. Stephanie tirelessly works in our states, not only working on elections, but making sure that town government works the way it needs to work. Our businesses are registered and operate the way they need to work. And I had the pleasure of serving here in the House with Stephanie prior to her election as Secretary of State. So we're honored to have you here as well. So Secretary Thomas.
Representative, you stole my opening line. I usually give a quiz about who knows what the Secretary of the State does, and no one typically knows. Would you have known if Representative Boyd hadn't mentioned my job? Yeah, no, this happens in every single room. Yes, one of the things I do that a lot of people talk about is overseeing our elections. And I love speaking with scouts, but I'm even more excited about the name change happening tomorrow and to see so many young women here today. I consider myself our chief civics. Whoa, this rotates. How many people like being in this room? It's kind of cool, right? Yeah. I know, yeah, it's a mixed blessing. As the representative said, I got to sit in one of those chairs and push those buttons and vote. So as the chief civics officer of the state, I always like to talk to people about their duty as citizens. And this is why I love working with scouts, because duty to self, to others, to our country, these are things that to me equate civic education and civic engagement. I think it's so important for all of us to remember throughout our lifetimes that we have the power to make our communities better in whatever way we see fit. So I hope that hopefully you'll be scouts lifelong, but even if you leave it behind and you move on and grow up, I hope you'll always remember the importance of voting in elections and staying engaged in your towns and making sure that you are having a voice, because all of us who sit in buildings like that, like this one, we rely on hearing from you so that we know how to enact policies that are helpful and useful to you in your life. So please, I hope you'll all stay engaged. Who's with me? Okay, good. I'm going to hold you to it.
So they're going to present you. Sorry.
Here's a official scouting badge.
Very exciting. Very exciting. Thank you, Greg. And great job. I could have never stood up there when I was you.
Thank you. Yep. Next, I'd like to introduce our governor. Governor Lamont has always, you once took a selfie on the side of, I think, 95 at the rest station with some scouts selling cookies or popcorn or something on the side when he was first running for office. But always takes the time to ask how the scouts are doing. Leadership and action is important. And Governor Lamont, through some of the hardest times in our state, particularly during COVID, was a strong leader and a consensus builder, something we want to build in scouts, and we want the next generation. So we're honored that you're willing to spend some time with us today. So please welcome the governor of the state of Connecticut.
Hey everybody, how are you? It's good to be here. Hey Pat, thanks for inviting me into the room where it happens. I'm governor, so I'm executive branch. I'm over there. I only get invited to this room when they let me come in with our friends of the legislature and Pat Boyd and Speaker Ritter. And thanks to you, I get to visit for a few minutes. I'll just tell you what I love about the Scouts. It starts with what Stephanie Thomas was saying. You know, Stephanie is the Secretary of State. One of the things we try and do is make people realize the importance of citizenship and being a good citizen. And that means everything from voting to helping out your fellow citizens. And what I know about the Scouts is that's just what each and every one of you do every day. I get the opportunity to introduce next a guy named General Evon. General Evon runs the Connecticut National Guard. Talk about service. That's who I call every time there's an emergency. When we have an electrical storm and the wires are down and the lights are out, you call up General Evon. When there's COVID and you're having a hard time having hospitals, you got to put up a quick emergency hospital center. That's what General Evon does for us. And that's, again, I think the type of skills you get with the Scouts. That's what each and every one of you learn to do. You learn to look out for each other. You learn to care for each other. You care about citizenship. You care about respect. These are all what we need more in our society right now. I know also what it means in terms of just getting outside and getting a little energy and a little life. I used to do that by running. I thought it was, cheaper than a psychiatrist and just as good for my mental stability. These days, I tend to do long walks and hikes. And what I love about a hike is what it does for me and my well-being, what it does to health, and what it means because along the way you're seeing people, you're walking with people, you're talking with people, you're interchanging with people every day. And I think that's a lot what the Scouts are all about. Look, I am really proud of what each and every one of you are doing. I'm proud of the Scout leaders. I want you to tell your friends, if you have a little brother, a little sister, why they ought to be Scouts too, what it meant to each and every one of you. And with that, do I introduce somebody? Who's that? General Evon is in their house. Everybody please salute General Evon.
May I have your
Catch.
Thank you very much. You were so good. Well said.
Thank you.
Come and visit me sometime.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Governor.
Well, thank you, Governor, for that introduction. And Mrs. Lamont, good to see you. Thank you. So good evening, everyone. I'd like to start by thanking Representative Boyd, Secretary of State Thomas, the Legislative Scouting Caucus, our distinguished legislators here, and of course, all of the Scouts in attendance for allowing me the opportunity to speak with you as you're about to celebrate the 115th anniversary and the introduction of Scouting in America. You know, you may be wondering why a 2-star general is up here addressing you all, and I think the governor answered some of what we do. But believe it or not, Scouting and the military are not much different at all. In fact, when I stand up here and look at all of you, it's a lot like looking out at one of our formations of troops. And that's because at the core, the values at the core of Scouting are the same at the core of military service. Trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. These are the tenets of the Scout Law and many of the key characteristics of being a successful soldier and leader. But that shouldn't come as any surprise because after all, I think it was, if I did the history right, Lord Robert Baden-Powell, the founder of Scouts, was a lieutenant general in the British Army. And he's best known and widely considered a hero for his leadership during the Second Boer War at the turn of the 20th century. And it was through his military experience that he wrote the first book, or the first edition of Scouting for Boys, the official handbook that taught Scouts about survival skills, self-discipline, good citizenship, and much more in leadership. When I was here 5 years ago, I was telling Representative Boyd, you know, in 2019, I met my assistant scout leader who was here with his granddaughter, and she had just recently become a scout. And I remember growing up, you know, in Naugatuck, Connecticut, in the valley. We had a couple of fields behind our house, and that assistant scout leader used to run us through round robin, whether we were getting ready for the Adirondack weekend or any given weekend. And I'll tell you honestly, that's really what Scouting first introduced me to what ultimately would become a career in the military, in the Connecticut National Guard. So I think it's great, and what we have in common and the organizations have in common is our values, and our values specifically of selfless service. So throughout your scouting adventures, you're taught to try and leave the world a better place than you found it. You strive to help those around you, and you become leaders amongst peers. And as members of the Connecticut National Guard, what I refer to as Connecticut's home team, we all aim to do the same. As you heard from the governor during COVID-19, our soldiers and airmen were on the front lines delivering PPE to first responders. We helped administer vaccines, and we worked testing sites. During the recent Hawthorne wildfires, our guardsmen flew helicopters that dumped thousands of gallons of water to protect homes and businesses. And we have teams at the forefront of cyber innovation, protecting our state's critical infrastructure from malicious attacks and working with our Secretary of State's office with municipalities on election security. When our guardsmen put on their uniform and raise their right hand to take that oath of enlistment, they are also making a promise to their community, their state, and our nation. The promise that they will do their best to do their duty to our nation and to help people, other people, when called upon. And that's the promise, that is the same promise you make when you raise your right hand and recite the Scout Oath. So with that, I leave you with one parting thought. And our biggest advocate is the governor right there when we talk about recruiting and retention into Connecticut's home team. Scouting provides an incredible opportunity for young men and women to explore civic duty and leadership. And the National Guard is an excellent way to continue that service after you turn 18, or if you're 17, get mom and dad, and we can help them. They'll help you sign the line. But we offer a wide array of benefits, including 100% college tuition waivers, thanks to this very state legislature back in the early 80s, paid on-the-job training for more than 200 career fields. So if you want to live here and serve here, please check us out. I want to mention one other thing. Our new command chief, we're about to promote her to CW5. So Chief Warrant Officer Stephanie Richards back there. She's the newest addition to Connecticut's team. Super proud to have her. And thank you again. I'm so humbled to be here tonight. And thanks for all you do for this great state. Thank you.
Thank you, General Evon. And it should be noted, for 2 years I had the pleasure and the honor of serving as the House Chair of the Veterans and Military Affairs Committee. And before we ever ended up talking business, the first thing the General had asked me is, how are the Scouts doing? So I've always appreciated your dedication to the program as well. Before we get kind of to the closing piece, I want to give a chance for my legislative colleagues. We formed this year for the first time a legislative scouting caucus with the goal of giving Scouting America and the Girl Scouts of Connecticut a greater voice in this building and a greater opportunity to engage in civic engagement. And in about a month or so, we're going to have a group of Girl Scouts from Connecticut up here. And a number of legislators chose on a Friday night to be here. And that is not lost in me, and I don't think that's lost in all of you. I just want to give you a chance to come on up, legislators, and just give your, as the General would say, name, rank, and serial number. So my legislative colleagues, please come forward. Kind of get a line here, and then we'll go from there. Yeah. Come on up, guys. They're not used to being up here. We're used to being down there.
Used to looking this way here. Good evening. I'm Marty Foncello, State Representative. I live in Brookfield. I have portions of Newtown and Bethel in my district. My scouting history goes way back. When I was in high school, I was in the Sea Scouts, which later became the Sea Explorers and then Sea Scouts again, I think. At some point, they went co-ed. I formed a Sea Scout ship when I was in the Army, believe it or not, up in Massachusetts, and I was the first mate up there. My son here in Connecticut, he is an Eagle Scout, and we did a project in Brookfield. So we're pretty much a scouting family, and I encourage you all to stick with the process, go through, get your Eagle. It's extremely important. If there's anything we can do to help you along the way, let us know, because we've been there, we've done it before. So congratulations, thanks.
Make sure you grab the report your
Good afternoon. I'm going to be brief. I'm Kathy Kennedy, State Representative from the 119th, which is parts of Milford and Orange. And I truly just want to thank all of you. Scouting is just an amazing. I learned something really interesting at a scouting event recently. That's how you guys shake hands. And I never knew that you shake with the opposite hand because it's closest to your heart. So that was really interesting. But to all of you that have achieved your Eagle, yes, because it's very interesting. If you have achieved your Eagle Scout, that is fantastic. That is just so arduous, so many hours, and I'm so proud of all the Eagle Scouts that I have met over the last couple of years. It's remarkable. So thank you for all you do. Continue what you're doing. Serve your towns, serve our state, and hopefully someday even serve your country. So thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm State Representative Tom Delnicki. I represent the town of South Windsor, and I also represent 4 Scout troops in South Windsor, an all-female and 3 regular male troops. And we have Eagles from all of those troops doing great things in the community and making things happen. And I want to make one point out here. I see future leaders in our government here. I see state representatives, town councilors, I see mayors, and I see young people dedicated to making a difference in our communities and making the state of Connecticut just that much better. Thank you for the opportunity. And Pat, I hope we do this every year and make it an annual event. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Eilish Collins-Main. I represent Stamford. I'm here to thank you all for being here. I also wanted to introduce Explore Post 53. Post 53 is the first responders for the town of Darien. They are high school students. The organization is about 55 years old. With them is their adult advisor, Jay McMahon. The two of us were both in Post 53 in the 80s. They have 80 members, women and men, and just have courage and bravery and leadership like no other. So I'm so delighted that they can make the trip from Darien. And again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Hello all. Sorry about that. I'm Nick Menapace. I'm a freshman representative from the 37th District in East Lyme. I was also a Tiger Cub and one of 3 Eagle Scouts who are here. 4? Oh, 4, sorry. All the way up to 4 now. But as some of the previous people have said, I think that scouting was a huge part of why I am here today. I became a teacher, and I think a lot of that was because I had this passion for knowledge that the Scouts really helped me reinforce. I loved every minute I was a Boy Scout. And, even here, it really made me very interested in being civically involved and helping my community. And like I said, that's a huge part of why I'm here today. So I really hope that you guys are able to get that from what you're doing, because I think that scouting is wonderful. And I think that every minute of it should really be a joy. And it should be great to be in your community and in the outdoors and everything that we're doing. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hello, I am State Representative Nick Gauthier. I represent the 38th District, also a freshman legislator serving in my first term, representing towns of Waterford and Montville. And I just really wanted to thank you all for being here tonight. The way, I ended up here is through community volunteerism and just getting involved locally, and that's what you all do. And in my brief time serving as a representative, I have been very welcomed by the Scouts. Very proud and happy to have that welcoming feeling. So thank you all for welcoming me into your community. And I really love the community that you all have built. So thank you. Have a good day.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Santinella. I represent Enfield from the 58th District. It is a real honor to be here with you this evening. I've been here, like Nick and the other Nick, for just over a month, and I was a little concerned when someone was sitting in my seat. I wasn't sure if it was the shortest legislative career I was going to have. But I have to echo what everybody else said. As I look back on my life, scouting was by far the most valuable thing that I did with my time. And, you may not see that now, but I assure you that in time, this experience will pay dividends to you over and over again. And I just want to thank you for dedicating your time to doing something that is so valuable and will pay dividends to our society in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
I need a stool. I'm Representative Jane Garibay. I'm from the 60th District, Windsor and Windsor Locks, and I'm very happy to be here. I was a Girl Scout. My daughter was a Girl Scout. My 2 boys were Boy Scouts. They made it to Star. They never made it to Eagle. But being a family of Scouts, we knew how hard all of you work now to be involved in your communities and to do good work. I can't say enough. And I know as a chubby little girl, when I was in elementary school, Scouts, even back then, gave me a place to participate and to feel valuable. And you continue to do it to this day. So thank you and congratulations.
And last but not least, my name is Mike D'Amico. I represent Farmington here in the House of Representatives. Farmington has a rich tradition of scouting. We have some fine scout troops that have been in existence for many, many years. So we're doing a great job and we'll continue to do so. Just want to welcome all of you here. I want to thank Representative Boyd, my colleague, for putting this whole program together. I want to say two things to you. You will go on to careers doing all sorts of things, many very different careers among all of you. Make sure that whatever you do, you serve your fellow men and women. Make sure that you serve not yourself, but serve others, just as you are doing now by being scouts. And the second thing is, whatever career you choose, make sure you do it well. Congratulations and keep up the good work.
And lastly, before we close, the legislature petitioned the House and the Senate to commemorate this occasion. This is not, very few organizations go beyond 100 years. And to see the organization's name change to Scouting America, the Legislative Scouting Caucus petitioned the General Assembly for the 4 councils in the state of Connecticut. So hereby it be known in special recognition the 115th anniversary of its founding and the official transition from the Boy Scouts of America to Scouting America. For over a century, Scouting has played a role shaping the lives of young people, teaching values of leadership, service, respect, and responsibility. The organization's commitment to inclusivity and expanding the mission to serve all youth, Scouting America continues to empower countless individuals across Connecticut, the nation, fostering personal growth, community engagement in ways that will positively impact future generations. The entire membership extends its best wishes on this day here at the State Capitol, signed by the President of the Senate, Martin Looney, Speaker of the House, Matt Ritter, and Secretary of the State, Stephanie Thomas. And we have one of these for all 4 of our councils. So representatives of the Connecticut Yankee Council, please come forward. Let's clap here. This is good. Welcome to Connecticut. Thank you guys. Very good. Very good. We'll smile here. We'll smile. Thank you. Representatives from the Connecticut Rivers Council. So I'm just screwed up. Yep. It says Greenwich. Wow. All right. Here we go, guys. Oh, smile. Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Representatives from the Housatonic Council. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you for standing us. There you go. Here we go. In absentia, the Greenwich Council. It's important to note the Narragansett Council has one village in the town of Stonington that is technically in Connecticut as well. So that's a fun scouting fact if you didn't know it about Connecticut. And before we close, at the very end, Jeremy Nelson and his team is going to have all of your patches for scouts to get your patches on the way out. And I want to thank you for your work and my team as well. I really owe my team lunch. They all stayed after 5 o'clock to kind of make all this stuff happen. So I really appreciate the work that they did here at the Capitol as well. And to give us closure, I want to introduce Bob Sanford. Bob is the Council Commissioner for the Connecticut Rivers Council, as a business leader himself, as the president of Sanford and Hawley, and somebody who exemplifies the Scout Oath and Law on a daily basis for our closing. So Mr. Sanford, the floor is yours. Let's clap, let's clap.
Well, good evening, everyone. What a wonderful day. I hope everyone enjoyed their time here in the Capitol and in the Legislative Office Building, the tour, the great inspiration, and congratulations to all the scouts that made it here. What an exciting day also that we're celebrating 5 years of young ladies in scouting, just an important thing. And also, we didn't really put it in our report to the state, but an important part of all of our Connecticut councils is providing scouting for all. At Connecticut Rivers Council last year, we invested over $60,000 to help 166 youth attend our summer camps. And the other councils make similar investments, have similar programs. It's just something that's very important. At Connecticut Rivers Council, we have a program, Camp for All, where we're looking to ramp that up in 2025. It's very important to us that no youth is prevented from attending one of our camps for financial reasons. Lastly, I want to thank Representative Boyd. I want to thank all the representatives, Governor Lamont, Secretary Thomas, and General Evon. So thank you all. Safe travels home and have a great weekend. And thank you for all that you do for Scouting.
So my friends, go out into the world and do good. We are adjourned. Thank you.